Hi, hello guys, my name is Mia Marie and you are currently watching my Synastry Compatibility series where I go through all the 12 signs, sun signs, and how they get along. Now, as a general disclaimer, we reference so much more than just the sun sign for compatibility, but the importance of the sun and understanding someone's sun sign and accepting it and supporting it is that the sun sign describes the motives, the behaviors, the experiences that contribute to someone's sense of sanity. So we're not talking so much about what someone needs emotionally or how they flirt or what makes them great in bed, all of those very, romantic topics. We're talking about how to support someone's vitality, someone's sense of self, and someone's healing human journey. So keep in mind that this is just a gentle introduction, and you can get so much more by booking a session with me or another fantastic astrologer. Someone who is born with their sun in Pisces has a soul that came to this earth to break down all barriers that stand in the way of oneness. Now, Pisces has a reputation of not having boundaries or lacking boundaries or having porous boundaries. And when you hold in mind what their goal is, it kind of makes sense that it's hard for them to throw up that wall because it flies in the face of what they stand for. They want to bring love and unity to everything. It's a very gentle, loving, accepting soul and energy. Now, this doesn't mean they don't need boundaries, but it means that there's going to be resistance towards them. Once you explain to a Pisces that boundaries exist to protect them and to shield them, it can act as a barrier between people's energy and them. Then they'll be a little bit more on board with the program. Pisces is ruled by two planets, traditionally Jupiter, and modern day says Neptune. So you will find two different types of Pisces characters. A Jupiterian Pisces, it has a similar energy to Sagittarius, where they're expansive and big and larger than life, but it's via their emotions. And they are a little bit more positive than what you would expect. They want to play, they want to have fun. The other Neptunian Pisces is more introverted. The first one is extroverted. This one is introverted. It wants to look on the inner world, not the outer world, and it wants to expand there. And they're a little bit more reserved. They're focused on like their artwork behind closed doors and their poetry and the ways in which they love themselves. It's kind of like they take that same energy that Sagittarius would in the external world and they project it in their home space, in their private life. And with Neptune Pisces, you often see someone who has almost Capricornian expressions where they fall prey to depression because they get stuck in themselves. They get stuck in their own stories and the depression manifests. And when depression shows up in someone's life, it's the soul saying like, I don't want to play this role anymore. I don't want to be involved in this life anymore. And at that point, when you have that awareness, then Pisces can adjust their schedule and use their energy in different ways to erase the depression that they're currently managing. So keep that in mind. Which type of Pisces do you have? A Jupiterian Pisces or a Neptunian? Pisces is a water sign. It's the eldest water sign, but it's also the most sensitive and the most vulnerable. And the easiest way I can explain it is by the symbol for Pisces. It's a fish. A fish has no protective layer. It goes with the flow. It has no choice unless it's swimming upstream, exhausting itself, trying to fight the flow of life. But Scorpio has that stinger. Cancer has the crab shells and those little crabby hands to protect itself. Pisces is out in the open. It is the depository for the collective emotion. Now, they're not going to think about it that way. You're not going to think about it that way. In fact, a lot of what they're processing isn't something that's directly happened to them. Oftentimes, you'll find that when a Pisces is weighed down or they're feeling a strange mood for a reason that they can't explain, it's because of something that's happening out in the world. Now, when this happens, it's important that Pisces meditates because that is the safest, healthiest way for them to process their emotions. The alternative is that they're paying attention so closely to what's happening. They're paying attention to the mood, the vibes, the smells, the way that you're carrying yourself. They're paying attention to all the things that you aren't saying and try to integrate what you are saying. And it creates this glazed over look as if they're daydreaming. But really, they're collecting so much information that you are not even willingly communicating to them. Now, when this happens, it can create a feeling of overwhelm and they need to leave the room. They are an introverted sign. Specifically, just Sun in Pisces is an introverted sign. And so what it will do in those instances is it will literally escape the room. But then once it's in its own room, it will either meditate and process the emotion, or it will escape through some kind of substance. So smoking, drinking, being on the computer for hours on end, watching TV mindlessly, to the point where they're getting lost though. And so you can create this habit of constant escapism to the point where you're never really rooted or grounded. And so when I say meditation for Pisces, I don't mean, doing yoga, your fingers are like this, you're like, in yoga pants, so religious about your practice. That works too. But what I'm saying is you need to bring yourself into a brain state where you can close the door, sit with yourself, and just feel and rinse. It's this internal process of you letting the waters that don't belong to you just whoosh, go right off your body. So Pisces are mystics. They're mild, right? They go with the flow. Now, because Pisces is a mutable sign, and this is true for all mutable signs, it's equally as important to look at where the sun is placed, like which house it's placed in, because the house will greatly affect this changeable energy. It will give it a more concrete flavor. But just purely Pisces energy is kind of a let go and let God type attitude. And what they're here to do is to develop a relationship with spirit. It could be religious, it could be spiritual, it could be whatever it is, but they are constantly striving to reach spiritual enlightenment. And the way they do that is by taking care of their body, taking care of themselves, but arriving to that space where they can prioritize themselves and their health before others. It's a journey. So this is someone who, in relationships, is willing to make the sacrifices to show up. They are caring. They're empathetic. They are good with emotions. They can sit with you when you are expressing, like, they can see the most terrible behavior and not judge you because they see through to what you are made of, what your soul is, and how much you're struggling. And so Pisces can find themselves in situations with people who are dangerous or the bad boy, and they have this kind of phenomenon. This is true with Pisces men too, where they like the damsel in distress. They like saving somebody. And with women, it's like, well, if I just show up in this way, and if I just do this, then they'll change, and then the bad boy will be saved. The men are like, here's this damsel in distress. I'm going to help her because she needs me. And so that language can exist with a relationship with the sun in Pisces. So being the eldest water sign, they have the qualities and strengths of Cancer and Scorpio, but they're not focused on themselves. They're not specifically focused on one-on-one relationships. They're focused on humanity, the universe, the ethers. They're going as large and as big as you can imagine. They're leaving this plane in so many different ways. And so some deal breakers for a Pisces character is if you judge or if you try and stand in the way of their spiritual development. Now, I said earlier that they are sacrificing when it comes to relationships. This is not one of those areas where they're going to be sacrificing. A developed Pisces, if you are standing in the way of their spiritual journey, they will cut you off because that is what gives them fuel. That's what keeps them sane. And so if you're not supportive of whatever philosophy, astrology, right before you hello, they're going to be turned off. They're going to think you're closed-minded and they will feel unaccepted. And what makes that even worse is that they are so accepting that when it's not mirrored back to them, it makes it easier for them to step away. Another thing they don't like is if you're disrespectful to other people or if you treat other people poorly, specifically people who don't have the same resources that you have. So if you're rude to marginalized groups of people, or if you treat homeless people poorly or as if they're less than, they don't see, or they don't, they see it, but they don't subscribe to like the hierarchy that people are better than others. In their mind, everyone is the same. They're not going to bow to someone because of a specific title. They understand that when you walk out of your workplace, you guys are just humans face to face. And so if you insist that they take on the beliefs and that you subscribe to what the rest of society is doing, they're also going to turn away from you. And similar to that, if you are someone who lives and dies by your schedule, if you just do to do, if you want your day booked from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, Pisces is going to be repulsed by you in some way, shape, and form because you're not taking care of yourself. There is no spiritual life there. You're just functioning to function and you're forgetting to live and to exist. And Pisces needs the flexibility in a schedule in their day to go with the flow because their feelings change. Sometimes inspiration hits them at the most spontaneous time. And if you are like, no, you said you would be here and we have to do this and this and this and this, they're going to feel as if their creativity is being squandered. Like you're taking away something quite precious, and it is precious for them. It's kind of hard to tell when you have reached a deal breaker with Pisces because they're not so confrontational, specifically just Sun in Pisces, all other aspects ignored. They're not confrontational in that way. They don't want to feel uncomfortable. It's more of like a silent, I got it. This is who you are. These are the decisions that you make. And they will just not make time for you, or they won't show up, or they'll cancel last minute. They show that they care with their presence. And so if they continuously reject your opportunity or your bid for attention, it's either that they are avoiding reality in general because they're dealing with something privately that they're probably not explaining to you, or you've just kind of left a sour taste in their mouth and they don't want to spend time with you. But overall, Pisces are really sweet, accepting lovers. And the gift that they bring to you is some kind of like spiritual awakening or some invitation to go higher, to elevate, to escape this reality that is so prominent and overwhelming. I will say, two fish, opposite directions. Pisces are known, similar to Gemini, they're known to have multiple marriages because they just change quite frequently. And there is this fickle quality and emotional instability, kind of like the ocean, you know, always changing in and out, in and out. There is this quality to them. But that aside, it's not a reflection of you. That aside, when they are there and when they are with you, they want to gift you with whatever they have. That's just the way they are. Pisces and Pisces, so you have chosen to be in a relationship with someone who is very, very similar to you. Now, before I actually start the astrological component of it, or I guess this is partially astrology, but when you end up with someone who has the same sun sign as you, you are taking a masterclass in self-acceptance. And the way that this happens is you often attract someone who has the opposite expression of your same sun sign. And the beautiful part about that is you are going to have a clear shot. You are going to witness firsthand what it's like when somebody is high functioning and low functioning. They're light and they're dark, because your partner may not always be aware of the unconscious motives that are driving them to do things. They're not going to recognize when they disassociate or numb out, or, I mean, they may, but they might not recognize all the ways in which it shows up in their life and how it destroys the relationship. Now, you being a Pisces partner, empathetic, paying attention to all of the things, you're going to want to sit the Pisces down and talk to them about what's going on. And as you're doing that, it's going to allow your unconscious mind to start releasing bits and pieces of information about you that you have to work on. So this person is beautiful in your life, not only because they will show you the dark side, but they will also show you their lights. And as you love the light in them, you will learn to love the light in you. So this is a very restorative relationship for that reason. You're going to get to know your own energy very well. Now, as I said, they are going to have the opposite expressions, and so you are also going to be teaching them, and it's helpful to go into it with an open mind. Now, one of the things that I have to bring up with the double Pisces relationship is that Pisces characters are mutable, which means that they are about endings and letting things go. And so there is this impermanence or instability with Pisces energy. And Pisces, when they go out into the world, first of all, they leave the house charged. And then once they go out, they start draining their energy. But what happens is they're like sponges and they absorb everyone else's energy. So when they get back home to recharge, they have to press that water, that emotion out. And if a Pisces doesn't know how to do that healthily, they're going to employ unhealthy coping mechanisms. And this is key to your relationship. So the Pisces may drink, smoke, be on the computer, on their phone all the time. They may be watching TV, zoning out for hours on end. They could be playing video games. I don't care what they're doing. They're escaping. They're escaping their life and they're escaping their problems. Another way this can show up is trying to escape into your partner. Oh, you're home and wanting to latch onto them and wanting all of their attention. And how was your day and what are you doing? Another way to avoid the self. And the other side to the coping mechanisms is surprising. You would not expect this from a Pisces, but it's true. They will exhibit Virgo behaviors, meaning that they're uptight. They want all of their clothes to match. They want everything color coordinated. They want perfection. And you can see in all of their actions that they're trying to be as perfect as possible. And they're focused on just this one tiny little thing that, again, we are escaping the bigger picture. We're escaping the moment because we're so zoomed in on the details. So either escapism through literally losing your mind or escapism through losing your perspective. Now, you will find in your Pisces relationship that you will get irritated by your partner's escape or coping mechanisms, and you're going to want to take that away from them. Now, it's helpful to know that whatever they're doing to assuage their anxiety that they have collected throughout the day, even though it's unhealthy, what they're doing is working for them. And so when you try and take that away, you're going to get a defensive response. This person does not have the clarity that you have. They do not have the sense of security around the subject that you have. And so you have to go into this recognizing that, hey, I think we should take this away a little bit, or you should give that away. You should drop that and pick up this instead. What is that instead? I like to think meditation. But when I say meditation, you get the your legs are crossed, your arms are up, you're like, I just want you to be in a meditative state. So you guys both should come into a healthy habit of either spending time alone. Now, this is a Pisces thing. You guys want to merge and come together. You guys are both not here to create barriers, especially in life and love, but you guys need time apart. And this is helpful at home, time apart at home, because you guys are both releasing things. And if you're in the same room or if you're trying to do it together, you guys are in one way or another, because you guys have porous boundaries energetically, you're going to pick up the other person's shit. And so it's going to double the load that you have to release. So go into your own respective spaces. You can exercise, right? Go on a nice walk. The idea is to just be solo. So you are only responsible for what you have picked up throughout the day. You can also take a bath, you can journal, you can write, you can go into your room and literally meditate, a guided meditation, but there needs to be a practice and a promise to that practice that you are going to take care of your spiritual health. And the way that it will manifest is emotionally or mentally. You will start to feel anxious or uneasy. And so all of these things will help you guys get along better. So now that I've listed all of the cautionary things, let's talk about the beauty of this relationship. You guys will tend to see each other with rose-colored glasses, and it will last because those rose-colored glasses are your eyes. And so this is someone who wants to be devoted to the relationship. It wants to give their all. They want to love and be loved. The hard part about this is there's no container. It's like water. Water is useful when it is in a container, right? You can drink it, you can boil it to cook things, but if you just spill water all over the table, it's going to do nothing. And so I'm back on the negatives. And so it can be hard for you guys to establish permanence, is what I'm saying. So there has to be dedicated effort to think about what the long-term plan is and think about little small things that you can do every single day to create a sense of stability in your relationship. But there is devotion. There is a curiosity about the other person's emotions. There's a simpatico where you guys can look across the room from each other when you're at a party and know exactly what the other person is thinking and feeling. You guys can be sitting in a car and you guys are so in touch and in tune with each other. You can predict what they're going to do. You can predict how they're going to feel. It's almost as if you guys are psychically telling each other where you stand. This is also a very soulful connection. This will be a relationship where you feel deeply seen and touched. And that's what you guys both want. This is somebody who could, high functioning side for both of you. This is a relationship where you could really go to the depths of the psyche together and also up high. Being Neptune and Jupiter ruled, love is going to make your world bigger, right? These are not people like Scorpio. Love makes your world smaller. You have a tight group. These are people who want to feel good all the time. Big emotions, big everything. And so oftentimes Pisces people will invite you into their social circles, or just the opposite. It is too much of a task for Pisces to monitor their partner's feelings and the feelings of the group. Going back to the Jupiterian theme, they want to make your world feel big and expansive, and they will do everything in their power to help you in that way. Acts of service is definitely one of the Pisces love languages, meaning that that's how they show love for you. They might cook for you, make the bed, do your laundry, clean. Another way that they may show up for you is quality time. I feel like this is the slender few of Pisces people that I know. They really like you to be focused and intentional with them. But yeah, I think all in all, this is a relationship that has a lot of emotions and a lot of potential, and it will literally become what you guys both dream it to be. You just have to have structure. You have to have structure for everything. This is just the tip of the iceberg. If you would like to learn more, you can schedule a session with me at willandrising.com/services. And just for perspective, right? Your specific relationship has a configuration and combination of 1 in like 2,000 and something. So it's not like, you know, those other personality tests that you take where it's like, oh, you could be 1 of 16 or you could be 1 of 5. No, it's like 1 in 2,000 and something. I'm not going to do the math on it. So if you want to figure it out, you know where to find me. Doodles.